On May 2, 2011, at 1 a.m., 2 American Black Hawk helicopters landed in Abbottabad, Pakistan, without the Pakistani army being aware. Within moments, 24 commandos emerged from the helicopters, and exactly 40 minutes later, they shot Osama bin Laden right in the center of his head. After the operation, before leaving, they destroyed one of their helicopters, thereby blasting it. The question is, why? And why had the bin Laden, whom America had been searching for over the past 10 years, been hiding in Pakistan? How did America locate bin Laden, and why was he buried at sea after being killed? Friends, in today's video, we will discuss one of the most terrifying and secret missions in history, Operation Neptune Spear. At that time in Abbottabad, Pakistan, it was 11 p.m. Bin Laden's entire family was asleep. 23 members of the U.S. Navy SEAL team were preparing to board 2 Black Hawk helicopters. A dog named Cairo was also with them, wearing a bulletproof vest just like the other SEAL team members. The 2 Black Hawk helicopters had taken off from the Jalalabad airbase, heading east toward the Pakistan border. These helicopters emitted very little heat, and their tail rotors were specially designed to produce minimal noise. This precaution was taken to prevent Pakistani radar from detecting their location. Flying in a nap of the earth formation, just a few feet above the ground at high speed, the 2 helicopters flew. 45 minutes after the Black Hawks took off, 4 Chinook helicopters departed from the same runway. These Chinooks landed a short distance from bin Laden's house to support the Black Hawks involved in the operation. They carried extra fuel, weapons, and empty seats. Even after landing in Pakistan, their engines remained on, and their rotors were spinning so they could take off immediately if needed. However, as the pilot of the first Black Hawk tried to land in front of bin Laden's residence, he lost control. The helicopter's tail hit a wall, breaking the rotor blade. Thankfully, no one was injured. Meanwhile, everyone in the White House Situation Room was watching the entire scene unfold. A drone hovering over bin Laden's house was sending live footage to the White House. The second helicopter was landed in a field just outside the courtyard. A small group of SEAL members, an interpreter, and the dog Cairo kept watch around the courtyard. Inside the house, bin Laden was trapped in the security setup of his second-floor bedroom. The room had almost no windows to prevent anyone from seeing inside, so bin Laden himself couldn't see what was happening outside. As the SEAL team members ascended to the second floor, they spotted bin Laden's 23-year-old son Khalid on the stairs and shot him dead. On a shelf in bin Laden's bedroom were several AK-47 rifles and Makarov pistols. But instead of heading toward these weapons, bin Laden first tried to open an iron door to see what was causing the commotion outside. A SEAL team member spotted him, rushed up the stairs, and headed toward bin Laden. Bin Laden turned around but made a critical mistake: he didn't close the iron door. Within seconds, the SEAL entered the room. Bin Laden's wife Amal shouted something in Arabic, standing in front of her husband. Another SEAL member fired at Amal's feet. Bin Laden offered no resistance. A SEAL shot him twice, once in the chest and once in the left eye. At that moment, then U.S. President Obama, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and other senior American officials were watching the operation live from the White House. Meanwhile, the SEAL team still had an important task ahead: destroying the crashed helicopter to prevent the Pakistani military from acquiring its technology. They also had to ensure they crossed the Pakistani border safely without encountering the Pakistani army. Pakistan had sent 2 F-16 fighter jets to intercept the helicopters, but Pakistani pilots were not accustomed to flying at night. Bin Laden's body was laid on the helicopter. A SEAL member took a photo of Bin Laden and sent it to a server, where 2 facial recognition experts in Washington were waiting to confirm his identity by comparing it with old photos. President Obama later said that the 40 minutes the SEAL commandos spent inside Bin Laden's home were the longest 40 minutes of his life. Osama bin Laden was a devout Muslim, so they planned to bury his body according to religious customs. His body was washed, wrapped in a white sheet, and an imam recited the Quran before he was buried in the North Arabian Sea. But the question remains, why was bin Laden buried at sea? America knew that many people around the world still saw bin Laden as a hero and respected him. If his body had been buried on land, his followers might have treated the grave as a shrine and paid homage. America, however, did not want any memorial or marker for bin Laden, so they decided to bury him at sea.